Tell me why. As soon as I'm trying to do the thing I've been very consistent about on my Wednesdays, that's when the internet's like, nope, right when I start cooking. Right when I started coming up with ideas. Maybe it's God telling me I got to do it later tonight, which I might just do that. But I think I'm going to come on here for like a half an hour to an hour. And if you connect with me, you connect with me. If you don't, you don't. But, dude, there's been stuff going on like this all week, man. Like, literally all week. I'm like trying to cook up. What's good, David? Thanks for hopping in, bro. Yeah, I literally saw you hopped in right as it died. I saw that you liked, and I was like, come on, bro. Like, the internet just like, it literally went out. I was like, what? Like, I'm looking at my router, and yeah, I could hotspot, but dude, I stream for hours. There's no way. It's just, oh, goodness. Goodness gracious. But if you didn't catch the beginning yap session of my stream, I was talking about Romans 11:29, gifts without repentance. And I made a video on it today. I feel like setting this up on my Bible because I feel like that is the firmest foundation you're going to get. That's right. Um, but today, you know, I really feel like now I've been moving a lot better with the Lord because I'm starting to ask more. I'm starting to trust more. I'm starting to submit more. And I recognize that, the gift that I have with music, it wouldn't be possible without him. But he gave it to me before I repented. And I think it's super important that we understand that the music industry, there's probably a lot of people that went to church growing up, but they got church hurt and they didn't know what relationship with the Lord is because they were looking for someone to teach them that. And what they got instead was rules and regulations. And I think it's a wrong approach at first. What's good? What's good? Wow. See, I'm getting like way more people that are able to see the stream if I'm formatting like this. So I might start formatting the songwriter support streams here. I'm blessed. Thank you. Thank you. Like, so the start to this stream, I just want to open the door, talk about life and discussion, but really, like, I was cooking up, and I've had a lot of stuff like this where this has happened, where I'm trusting God, and I'm trying to do the right things and follow in the steps, and it's like things just happen to stop me from doing the thing that I feel called the most to do, or the thing I need to do in that moment, and I'm trusting God and asking for guidance. And like even yesterday, you know what? I'm gonna say it because they resolved it. Okay, explain to me why I'm doing the biggest order I've gotten in a while, doing delivery, and all of a sudden the order wouldn't process, and I was like, what? And then we looked at the receipt after I pressed it again. I called support. They processed it. Tell me why it randomly added $46 in Powerball tickets. Nobody requested it. Literally nobody put it in the system. I didn't say, hey, please buy these Powerball tickets with someone else's money. I was like, and I literally am they live 5 minutes away, and I'm about to be late. I was almost late to that order. I ended up being late to two other orders because of it. And I recognized, like, when you're trying to do something for God and you're getting closer and closer and closer to God for that guidance, there's going to be things that hinder you or aim to try and make you upset. And you have to just trust. And actually, one of my good friends who worked at that store where it happened, I'm going to go ahead and read you the. I'm going to take the Bible off here that I had this sitting on because, like I was saying, it's firm foundation. And I'm going to read you James, where he told me to read, because I thought it was so, what is so much what I needed right in that moment. And so if we start literally on James 2, which is the back of the Bible, New Testament. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given to him. But let him ask in faith, with no doubting. For the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind. For that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. And I felt like reading that was so powerful to what I was going through in that moment. It made me realize, like, I shouldn't be mad. I should still keep asking for guidance from God. I should still keep seeking God. And everything that I'm going through is part of that. It is part of that struggle that people, that like persecution that talks about. And it's something really dumb and simple, but you realize like the enemy does stuff like this all the time in your life, like random distractions and things that when you're asking God for guidance, you're asking for, you know, how do I move? Like, that's how I like to talk, like, even about some things that I want to buy or, so, like, not everything, but pretty much everything. Like, if I'm like, hey, God, how long should I work today? Like, I'll ask him how long I should work because I could work as long as I want. But I realize when I try to figure that out, I stress myself out. But when I ask God, he'll tell me when. And what's so crazy about it is when I'm asking him, he'll tell me when. The people who provide me those opportunities, like super late at night or something like that, it's like people that are my preferreds, like people that prefer me to shop for them. So, and like even last night, you know, I had an opportunity to donate to somebody and give them some food. And I was like, God, how do I, you know, God, where do I go? Like, how do I, am I going to give it to somebody today? Like, am I going to actually donate today? And he was just like, yeah. And I asked him how long I should work out. And he said 22 minutes. And I was like, okay. And it's like, go home the way that you normally go home and you'll see him. And what was so crazy is in the gym, when I'm walking off the step climber, I stretch, I look up at the screen, and it's talking about the homeless youth. It's talking about the homeless. And then this guy is like waving his arms. And as soon as I'm about to walk out, his arm's pointing towards the door. I'm like, dude, this is just God. Like, you could see it in whatever way you want to see it. I know what I saw. I know what I'm experiencing. And I know God is moving on my behalf to show me, like, signs, literally. Like, you couldn't explain that. One of the first orders I did, the customer was, like, talking about deals, like, buy one, get one free. If it works this way, can you do it this way? And I told them when I finally shopped the order, I was like, hey, the items that you wanted, they're not gonna get part of the buy one get one for the bread. But if when I initially thought one of the pieces was going to, it was like buy one get one free of the same loaf. And I told them I would donate it to a homeless person. I would give it to somebody. And I think that's so important to give to other people and bless them in those ways because those are the people who really need it. Like right now, I think more than ever, especially if you're in Texas, like it's hot and there's a quite a huge homeless population out there that need our help. They really do. And I think we need to ask God for, you know, how we can help, the resources to help, praying for these people, and really being 100% available to listen and be obedient to God and try to understand how we can help as much as possible. Because I recognize that, like, there's so many opportunities that you may have to help, whether you know it or not. Like, you could have nothing, and you may be able to help somebody because what you have is God. And when you have God, you have everything that you need. So that's kind of my spiel because, you know, I really felt, because I know we're not always called to talk about the good things that we do. But I felt like talking about that because I think it's one of those moments like yesterday. It showed me how much I need, one, how much I needed to go to God and ask Him, what am I holding on in my heart? And then two, like it showed me that I need to trust God for literally everything, like what I'm doing, where I'm going. And you know, you still have free will. You can make decisions that you're like, oh, I want to go get a cup of coffee. I want to like go enjoy some food and do things like that. Or, you know, some people struggle with alcoholism, so I don't condone like, okay, you know, go out and go buy a fifth, some liquor or something. But personally, I enjoy beer every once in a while. And I was just, you know, is this okay for me to do right now? And I ask because I really don't know. And I feel like being okay with not knowing is it's amazing. Like it's one of the best things that you can really like do is like really being okay with just saying I don't know. You know, I don't know at all. So on that note, if you guys have any questions, yeah, internet's still down. Internet's still down, man. Like it's just I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm looking at it. Maybe it's a day or two, that's fine. Whatever happens, happens. And maybe this was just the sign of like I want you guys to be able to ask me questions and say what's up and actually get to know me and not just what I do. Because I, you know, one, I get you more followers, but I think that's important for anybody who has a business or a company or a career or an idea. Is like if you don't know who the person is, how much are you willing to like trust that they're gonna have your best, the best intention for what you do? Okay, yeah. See, distractions. I already have auto insurance. I don't need. But hey, if you're in here, if you're new, welcome. Welcome to the Songwriter Support Stream with the down internet. I'm curious of actually formatting things this way instead of the way I've been having it because I've noticed more people can actually engage with it. Like YouTube, TikTok, all of them, except for Instagram. Instagram is like I've always had issues with their lives. Unless you're popping, like it doesn't show it to anybody. And that's what I mean. Like I feel like this format if I started doing it where like the the top of the screen right here where my pen is pointing, like maybe that's my face and stuff, and then the bottom of the screen is like the Ableton setup, and you guys can see all of it because I still want to produce and make music and like connect with people in that way and show them, hey, like we can do that. But also too, maybe making some of the lives more about let's like connect with the people if they have any deeper, if you have any like deeper questions about songwriting, if you have any deeper questions about like, I'm stuck on this one thing of programming drums or getting things to sound good, or I don't know where to go with this next lyric, and you want tips and you want tricks and you want resources that you're just not sure where to look, like I can provide that. And I think that this could be a good way of opening the door for a lot of people is like what I was talking about in the last stream was literally like before it all shut down was gifts without repentance. And that you probably have a gift that God gave you. And maybe it's a hobby for you. And maybe it's something that you could use to edify the body or help get involved in your church, and you just don't know where to go with it. And I think sometimes that scary feeling is like you have all of the resources that you need, but you're not exactly sure how to set them up or put them all in place, or and I've noticed I'm somebody who's really good at finding the missing puzzle piece and like helping people try new things and not be afraid to try those to try those new things. So I think for today I'm gonna probably do a shorter stream. I might actually go on TikTok and stream for a little bit too, just because the internet's down, and I planned this time to stream. So that's the goal, is let's connect with people. If you need to ask me questions, like if you're like, hey, I have a recording set up, what do I do? How do I get higher quality sounding recordings? How do I glorify God with a gift that he's given me more than life, like a creative passion? Or if you're just like, I'm not exactly sure if I should continue down this route, go ahead and shoot those questions. Like, I feel like a lot of people, they feel called to do the thing, but they don't know how much is really available to them to do said thing. Like, it's true. There's so many free resources available to you now. And I think that we don't always fully take advantage of what free resources are available to us because we don't know. We just don't know. Like, oh, dude, there's all these free plugins, there's all these free tech. Like, if I would have known that, I probably would have just downloaded it and got it set up. And I think that was a big problem with working at Sweetwater Sound, was people would buy gear all the time. Super high-end compressors, or just like pretty good ones. Like, you're still spending about anywhere between like $800 to about $1,500 for one piece of technology. Whether that included cables, like the cables that you were buying or not, like that's what you would have a conversation with me about is, okay, we're going to make sure we get you the right cables, get everything set up in the proper way. And the issue they would have would not be the plugging it in and plugging it out and getting it patched into their system. The issue they would have would be something that tech support couldn't solve, which was called a creative issue. So, like, you wouldn't know how to actually optimally set up your compressor in the way to make it sound good. You didn't know how to set up your mic preamp in the way to make it sound good for what you need. So, I think that this is the goal with the channel, is like, okay, how would I do things in a way, even if I didn't have the extra gear, or if I do, like, how do I actually set things up and musically too? Like, how do I get things organized to where I have like a cohesive song? How do I know my rights as a songwriter, as a producer? And like, should I charge for these things? Should I move in a different way and make people aware of what's really going on? Because, for example, if you kept up, I sometimes keep up with the music news type of stuff. And Timberland just recently came out and said he's starting an AI company and that he's going to be signing one of his first AI artists. And I think a lot of us have questions like, bro, how are you going to do that? Like, how are you going to say that it's a good idea to make a piece of technology that just makes songs that you want and that you're going to sign them as an artist? What does that mean? Because really, the way we treat AI is it's proprietary technology, right? We'll treat it as tech. So how do you sign an artist like that? Like what's the point? Because it's horrifying. Like it just sounds like to me it's just like a money dump. It's just a thing that you're looking to dump some money into, thinking that you're gonna get a return like on crypto. And I think that's scary for a lot of people. But I think for me, it shows me like, dude, I think this is the perfect time to show people that we don't, there's a line with AI technology. Like, realistically, a lot of music software, and I'm going to tell you as somebody who has sold the gear for years, like, even back when I started my career selling music technology, AI has been integrated into the technology. Artificial intelligence has been integrated, especially with the Isotope plugins. Like if you know that software, that's actually one of the earlier companies that adapted to AI, and that shift in the industry is AI. So I think understanding that it's been there, but the way that it's showing up now is different. It's like way different, um, almost scarier at times because it's like instead of just being a tool to help shape the sound, it's like the tool that's going to replace you, and we don't want that. And you can't. As much as they try to say that you can be replaced, you really can't. God put you here for a reason. And I think some people have the skills and they can use it to preach the gospel and edify God, but they don't because they're scared. And it's scary because you have to learn all this new stuff. And it's just tough because you'll have stuff like what just happened to me where you're just trying to do the thing you love and connect with people and make beats, and it just and this has all been going on all week, dude. Like all tons of stuff like this where it's trying to distract me from helping people get to know Jesus better through being an example and showing like how real and raw you have to be. And yes, you're 100% right, David. He's always been doing it for the money, dude. Like he's been even trying to sign Christian artists, any type of artist for a long time. And actually, one of the artists I had worked with in the past, I almost got an opportunity to meet him, but she canceled. And I'm kind of glad she did. Because now I think a lot of the music community is coming back to Timberland is like, no. We don't we don't agree with this. It's not the way. What is this? Okay. So it's got that's funny. It can get rid of my wrinkles. A retouch. Yeah. Look at that. I'm 5 years younger. That's so weird. See, that's what the AI technology be doing. Um. Oh, that's cool. So I can actually put like my logos and stuff like that. I didn't know that. Hold on. Let me see if I can get. All right. So for those who didn't believe that I used to like be in bands, like this was actually one of the biggest gigs I did with a cover band called the Illegals back before I was saved. And you could tell, man, I was a much fuller, bigger dude. I've kept off 40 pounds since then. It's pretty crazy to think about. And it shows me that like anybody can be saved and the grace of God can be given to you. But this is cool. I didn't realize you could do that. And right here is actually my logo. I wonder if it can allow me to like adjust it. I don't know. I wonder if, hold on. Oh, okay. So it like disconnects me if I try to go download the other file. Because I forgot I could put my songwriter support background on here. But yeah, like, I think right now, more than ever, like, okay, yeah, this is crazy. There's so many cool things that can be done. See, this is what AI is doing. No, I'm kidding. But I think that this could be a good format. Is trying to fit it on this screen in this way. I think it's easier. It could be more personal, but also more people see it. And I think that's what's important too. Is like if we know how the things work, like if we're going to be using music like technology to connect with more people and can help people connect more with the gospel, we have to understand what things are actually being shown to people. Like if we don't have money to promote stuff, like this is showing it to more people than if I do it the other way. Like even though the other way it's like you get to see everything fully, I think this format actually is being it allows it to be shown to more people. So therefore, now you have the opportunity to interact with people who may not know Jesus in a way that connects with them right now. And I think that that is super powerful. Is recognizing like, hey, you know what? Maybe this is the change that has needed to happen. Maybe this is why my internet went down because now I know like even TikTok when I format it like this, I connects with more people. Like it just automatically does. I get way more likes. I get new followers. I get people who engage with the content more and get to know me more. But really, through me and through what I post, get to know Jesus more, which is the goal because it's not about me. And see, like all this stuff is trying to distract me. I just got a call. You got to be kidding me, bro. Like why is it right now that I'm getting the calls, getting the scams, the spams, the things I didn't ask for, when I'm just trying to be a resource to people and be helpful in a way that they don't have to like spend money or do anything like that. And I think this would be awesome is using this as like a moment to where like, okay, you got deep questions about a song that you're working on or something that you just don't know about the music industry and you want to get like resources and understand like how do I register my songs? How do I put them out there? How do I structure a song? How do I use any of the tools that are free now? Because it used to not be free. I had to pay for all of it for many years. Gone into debt because of my own mistakes. And by the grace of God, He's been allowing me to pay it off, like, and save money. Like, really, it's incredible. And I want people to be able to ask those questions. So maybe I format um, different live streams or things like that, maybe throughout the week at different times. Uh, just connect with people in a more real way and maybe even do song reviews. Who knows? My only concern with song reviews is I probably couldn't do it on here because of copyright or TikTok. If you have like unreleased music, I probably could. But I recognize like it's a slippery slope with the song reviews, so I might not do it. But if you're like want to personally send me a song to review it or like a record, absolutely. Like you can send me an email, songwsub@gmail.com. You can absolutely do that, and it'll get right to me. Um, so I think that you know maybe. Oh, cool! I didn't realize like there's all these really awesome tools. Okay, I think that this could be a good poll. All right, if you're on here, say what's up. Answer the poll. Answer the poll. Have you given your life to Jesus? Because my answer, if I can say what it is, the answer is yes. But I think that this is cool. Like, this is a good way to actually build a community here and help people understand that it's like, there's so many free resources. Like, okay, the thing you're looking at me on, 10, 15 years ago, this did not exist. We had flip phones, and I'm not even 30 yet. I had a flip phone starting out. If you had an iPod Touch, you were like ahead of the curve. If you had an iPod, you were ahead of the curve. You know, like, I remember that. Like, the first gen iPods, dude. It was a different time. And now, like, you can record whole songs on your phone. You can rearrange stuff. You can collaborate with people across the world with the touch of a button. And we used to not be able to do that. Like, it was difficult. And the technology has gotten so good, man. It's gotten so good that why are we not just connecting with more people? Why do I still have my headphones on? My computer's it's down. Oh goodness. But yeah, I think that this could be really good. That we can use this as like a really awesome time where if you're like, okay, I'm struggling with this specific thing, with like maybe it's a music theory thing, maybe it's a recording question, maybe I don't know, you want to talk about God, like you want to talk about relationship with God or like anything like that. I think that because it's all important. Like if God gave you the gift, it's all important at the end of the day. And I want more people to get to know Jesus through something that they love to do because that's how I did. Like before I went to church or any of that, it was getting to know Jesus. It 100% was. And without him, I wouldn't be here. I really wouldn't. And a lot of people miss that because they don't know him. And it's tough. Because I remember life without Jesus. It was like trying to think you had to know everything when you don't. Like really trusting in Jesus is sometimes the most difficult thing, but it's the most rewarding thing because then you don't have to carry that yoke anymore. You don't have to carry that burden anymore. And you can just accept the love and the grace and the mercy that he's already given you with life. But then the tough thing is when you're called to a creative calling, knowing what to do, like, because there's so many different rules, there's laws, there's regulations, and I think sometimes Christians get too comfortable with sampling secular music and not knowing their rights. Like they're too comfortable, and it's um, it's tough because we really should allow them to ask deeper questions about their faith and be able to glorify God, but not solely focus on like the money and how do I not get this song taken down, or like how do I not run into the traps of the industry and let the enemy run my life. Because like, dude, the devil's in the details with those contracts. Like a lot of people think it's like you're gonna meet Satan when you when you go sign a record deal. And like I think for example, Zon T, he's probably the best example of showing that um, you can be a great artist, you could be extremely gifted, you could want to sign to a label, but even if you do all of those things right, even if you're giving the glory to God, they know that. They just want the control. Like people think it's about money. It's really not, dude. It's about control. Because what happened is actually this last year he stopped working with Atlantic Records, and I even said something a year ago about it. Was like we should pray for him to help him. You know, maybe this is just a test from God. Just saying, like, you know, you're gonna experience what goes on in the music industry. And what happened is he dropped maybe one song, like in his entire career with Atlantic, and then eventually he dropped. He either got dropped or let or like got out of his contract. I think that's more of what happened. Oh, it did. Oh, sorry. So he got out of his contract um, with Atlantic. See, this is what I mean. Tons of stuff's happening. Stuff to try and like destroy things. And I'm not even. I'm just trying to help people have a better relationship with God and understand the nature of the music industry, right? But he stopped the relationship with Atlantic, and now he's dropping songs again. And when I first heard the song that he dropped, I was like, "Oh, dude, you know it's Rich saying what you're saying because you're signed to Atlantic." And then that I found out through another resource, he ended up ending his relationship with Atlantic Records. So I'm like, bro, he found out. Yeah, praise God, man. Like he found out that ultimately um it's not necessarily about money or that he didn't trust God in it. I think it's more so realizing that you know, you get mollywopped by the contracts and what kind of control that they have. And that's the problem is like really he just had to learn the lesson of like we should be independent. We should not try to rely on labels unless we know what their intent is. Because if they end up getting bought out by one of the big three, like Warner, Universal, or Sony, basically they're now tied to the largest fiduciaries, you know, banks with some of the worst loan terms in existence. And on top of that, the struggle becomes not about money. Like they'll give you as much money as they think that you're worth to them. But it's control. Like they now have control of the narrative of what you say, when you say it, how you present it, and where things are going to go. And people don't think about it that way because they think about the money. They think about, oh, well, you can use this sample because you could just do it later and they'll get the money. You think it's just about money? Literally, you don't have to be making anything and they could just tell you to take it down. They could sue you personally. If they really wanted to, if they felt like they had a good enough case and you were using samples of theirs that one of the big three owns, which they own pretty much all of it, they have every right to control the narrative. Because think about it. God transcends money. God transcends the love of money. God transcends all of it. What is an easier way to influence a population than... Because, it's interesting. Even in the Bible, it talks about... Think about how many people in that time were illiterate, and the only way that they got to know the gospel was through hearing the gospel. Like, we really have to think about that for a second. Is hearing the word of God was what brought them to the faith. So, if they can control that, they can limit the way that you're saying it and the way that you put it out there. Because, some people, it's more about putting a message out there that's not going to step on anybody's toes. And then some people, I realize they're independent and I feel like they make music that glorifies God, but then it's like their goal is to be divisive. I've noticed that there are some people that it's like, I agree with what they say. I just personally don't agree with how they say it. And I think what becomes a problem is when, like, that's more of your focus. Is like, okay, I'm going to be able to connect with people by... Because I think we need people like that. Absolutely. We need artists that are willing to be bold and speak against the lies, the heresy, the sin that's going on in the world. We need that. But I realized, one, they're not for everybody. And I started realizing that, like, they're not for me. Like, I think that sometimes they go a little too much about that. Like, it's too much about sin and someone else's sin than it is about what God can save you from and how good and merciful He is. And that's what I mean. Is like, there's somebody I was following. I don't want to say his name, but I recognize, like, I agree with a lot of his messages. I just don't agree with the fact that more of his focus on his music is like just talking about how much, LGBT community, this and that, the agenda. Like, I felt like, yes, there's a lot of good in what he said, but I think when your focus is on so much on sin and less, it almost lessens the fact that, like, people are going to focus more on the sin and the fact that you have a problem with their sin than the problem solver. But that's just my take on it. I could be absolutely wrong, and I'm okay with being corrected and wanting to know, because I've recognized that like Christian music, there are times where it's almost like not enough of the gospel, and then there's other times where it's hellfire and brimstone and wanting to be right and not be loving and correcting in a way that's actually going to help people get closer, or really use music as like a worship. Because I feel like it, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not the same as the real relationship. It's just a supplement to help you question things. And that's what I like about music, is music allows you to question things. It allows you to ask deeper questions about your faith, your life, who you are, what you believe in, what you don't agree with, and why you don't agree with it, and your own biases. And I think at times there are some people that they clearly make things to be divisive, and we have to recognize that. But then there's other times where it's just like maybe I just don't agree with this. Like they're not the messenger for me, and I'm okay with that. Like I think that there's just some people that I personally like. I listen to them, but now that I've gotten deeper in my faith, I'm like, this isn't helping me. Like this isn't helping me build a deeper relationship with God, even if it's the truth. You know, because there's some. That's what the Pharisees did. Is they were people who knew the word, who abided by the law, who did everything, but inwardly they were like, I'm not committing these sins. I'm not doing these things. I'm a good person. I'm grateful that I'm not like them. But it's like the same person that you're talking about this agenda and stuff. Like, are you willing to show them love and to show them the mercy and the grace that God gave you? Or do you just want to continue to be like, they're pushing the agenda, they're pushing the agenda? Because what happens then? It really does create that division at that point. Because even if there is truth in what you say, the way that it's being communicated is something that isn't really doing it's almost quarrelsome, which we're called not to do. We're called not to be quarrelsome amongst each other and amongst other people because it's just not wise. But I think some people do that for the viewership and they want the attention deep down even though they don't say that they do. Oh, how'd I know? Man, so many opportunities. A lot of distractions today. Been trying to distract me from this conversation. But I feel like this is why this happened, so that there could be a better change as to the live stream that I do on Wednesday. And maybe make it more about like, okay, I'm going to connect on here, connect on TikTok for a little bit, make it more like a Q&A section, and then go into production. But format it so it's like this way, because more people can see it now. And I think that's for any business. Like honestly, David, I feel like if with your business, I know that you do. I've realized that like I've been able to off the rip connect with more people. Like even if you spent like an hour, it's crazy. Like if you spent like an hour, um, talking about ways that you can help people online, like it just gets more eyes on what you do without having to pay for ads or do anything like that. Now I'm assuming you have a lot of word of mouth people just because you do good work and you've worked with a lot of people. But I've realized like there's probably a point that you almost get to where it's like, how do I start expanding and being able to do the good things that I know God is calling me to do? Um, but I really don't have the extra resources to do it. And I've been learning like, dude, live streaming and making posts, which really you don't have to take a ton of time doing if you do it right and you learn. And I've been starting to learn like to actually start looking at the camera, like at the lens. Um, it's helped me a lot. Like all of my channels, like all the different places that I've been making stuff has been growing slowly over time. This channel slowly has been like growing. I haven't been because the first time I grew a lot was when I did a prayer. And I realized like it attracted, believers. It attracted a lot of people like that, but it didn't attract the people that I really need to help. And I think that's important. Is like the people that I really need to help are people who are musicians who don't believe or they're like about to step into the faith and they want to know what to do. and then also those who believe and they don't know what to do. Because I think that this space is constantly changing, and there's a lot of opportunity to use these free resources that are available to us right now. You don't have to have like a huge following, you don't have to know everything. Um, but I think the danger is, have you noticed if you go on TikTok Live or if you go on certain lives, it's this trying to be divisive about scripture. Like if you deal with the Christian realm, like it's a lot of the oneness Pentecostal versus Trinity, and water baptism is necessary for salvation, and people just like making very divisive stuff and trying to be biblically correct about everything. And when people actually come up and question them, not always having the greatest answer or responses to everything, and then just shutting them down and moving on. Have you noticed that? Because I have. And I feel like I would much rather use this platform to give people resources and maybe even guide them towards scripture or other places that they can go, um, instead of trying to like put this Q&A of like, join if you want to talk about this and that, and like be quarrelsome because they know it gets views, you know? Because I'm not, views are important in the way of, okay, I can connect with more people, but I don't care about the number metric. I don't think that is as important as more so like actually helping one person. Like if I can help somebody, okay, it probably cut out. If I can help somebody, that's more of what I need to do. Man, crazy, man. I think the internet's still down. Yep, still down. That's okay. At least I got 5G on my phone. But I wonder if the screen actually went black. That's wild, man. This whole thing is just wild. Still. And I bet you my neighbors are mad right now. Some of them are like, bro, I was watching my show. Come on. Come on, man. Like, internet's down. What's going on? This is a whole bunch of crap. But hey, it happens. Yeah, I've been yapping for about an hour, but I think it was important. I felt like it was something that needed to be talked about, and hopefully this live stream can get to someone who needs that kind of help right now. Is like, you know, they don't know about Bandcamp. They don't know about, okay, you can register with ASCAP or BMI as a writer and a publisher for free. There's a lot of free resources available to you to put your music out there, and not everything's about money. It really, you have to understand they use money to control you. So I think on that note, I'm gonna just end this stream here. It's been about an hour, uh, and I already streamed for a half an hour, but sadly, it just, and I think it maybe happened again. I don't know exactly what happened. I'm assuming like things are cutting out or whatever. It's been like that. I don't know. Just a lot of stuff like that recently. But I think I'm going to end it here, and I'm going to shift it over to my TikTok page, Songwriter Support. So, God bless you. Thank you so much for tuning in, if you tuned in. And I think I'll catch you guys on the next live stream. Hopefully, the internet works and I can try something new this next time. God bless you.